What's good, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome back to WWE SmackDown. Here comes the Fiend, the end of December, heading towards the Royal Rumble, heading towards WrestleMania. Let's see what there is to see on the show. How many points do I have? How close am I to challenging Batista for that world title? Also, is Batista still champion? So, who are the title holders? Brock Lesnar over on SmackDown. Batista over here. Eddie and Chavo. Ric Flair and Nate. The Fiend is the IC champion. Brock Lesnar also US champion. So, Brock 2 belts. Fiend 2 belts, because Fiend is also the hardcore champion. Attack Slug still Cruiserweight champion. And Jazz women's champion. So, yes. Batista, still the champ. The champ is here. How many points do I have? How many points do I need to challenge Big Dave? So my SP is currently 86. And can I get a shot against Big Dave? No. So I'm assuming 90 is the number there. So, okay, Easy E. Thanks. Moving on. Is the Fiend booked on the show? Because honestly, I don't want to be in the Rumble. I want to be the champion for WrestleMania. That I have not done on this show before. Even in my previous Here Comes the Pain playthroughs. But no, Fiendy 2 belts is not booked on this show. So Kane, Randy, and Steve in a hardcore triple threat match. And the winner is... That's gotta be Kane. Taking out Randy Orton. Now, Booker T and Chris Jericho. Winner is the Ayatollah, wins that match. And Elimination Table Tornado Tag for the tag team titles. Evolution versus HBK and Nash. And still champions Evolution. Which brings us to the pay-per-view Armageddon. Is the Fiend defending one of his multiple titles on this show for additional SP? That would be nice. I have my doubts. No, the Fiend is not booked. What a waste. Instead, we have Goldberg and Triple H. And the game goes over, as you think he would. We have a TLC for the US title. Brock, Taker, Eddie, and A-Train. And we have the continued dominance of the Beast pinning the A-Train. And Batista versus Ric Flair with 0 titles on the line here. Nothing for nobody. And Batista, the world champion, got pinned by the dirtiest player in the game. Which brings us to January. Mrs. McMahon. Him, hold a second. Hold on a second, player. Sorry, look, you're on your way home, I get it, but next month is the Royal Rumble. Do you want to be in that match? No. I'm so close to 90, as long as you keep putting me on the show, I don't need to be in the Rumble to be a champion and beat Batista and go to Mania. So, no, I'm good. I see. Sorry to interrupt. See you next week. Oh, I mean, see you next year. Happy New Year. Thanks, Steph. I've done the Rumble thing as Attack Slug like twice. I want to do something else this time. Jerry the King Lawler, what do you want? Hang on there, him. I wanted to offer you a shot at the tag team titles. No! I'm taking on Big Dave. How do you feel about that? I feel like you shouldn't be offering this to me, King. And also no. Well, if that's the way you want to do it. Sorry to take up your time, Fiend. Let me go home. Back to the funhouse. Okay. We are so close to 90. We need to win like 4 matches here. So, can that happen between now and Mania? I would think probably yeah. Probably yeah. Anyhow, Raw. January 1st, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Is there anyone backstage? No, there is not. Alright, let's hopefully have a match here on the card, maybe? Thank you. My IC belt on the line against Kurt Angle. It's true. It's true. And so finally, I can welcome you to a fine Monday here on the program. Plenty to discuss from last night's Survivor Series pay-per-view. First and foremost, the dual-branded Battle Royal, right? Which got announced after I filmed on Friday, and we didn't have who was in it until the freaking pre-show announced who was in it. So, of course, in my predictions, I said, hey man, Lars freaking Sullivan. No pun intended, right? Because they're pushing him, I guess, but he wasn't in it. Had I known who was in it, I would have said either Miz or Dominic are both getting their pushes on those brands, so why not? And of course, Miz won the match. But again, didn't know who was in it until the night of the show, so what can you do on that? And yes, the Fiend wearing that IC title, but I'm also the Hardcore Champion. But also on the pre-show, the Gobbledygooker, speaking of 30 years, won the 24/7 title from R-Truth, because of course he did. But he sounded an awful lot like Drew Gulak. Imagine that. But of course, by the end of the night, R-Truth won it back, and he is a 45-time 24/7 champion. So, that happened. Anyhow, your men's 5-on-5 match for that show. I told you, Team Raw was going to get it together. Team Raw was going to find a way to coexist and win that match. And boy, did they win that match. A clean sweep in that. They took out all of SmackDown, and they didn't lose a single elimination in that match. But Seth Rollins, I don't think we'll see him for a while. He basically said, you know what? Just do it. For the greater good, just do it. And got bro-kicked and pinned immediately. Took no other bumps in that match. Because, of course, Becky having that kid soon, so he's going to be out on his leave for that. So I would say Seth back for the Rumble is a good spot for him to come back and return at the end of January as a surprise entrant in that match. But, you know, that's kind of the thing that they would do there for Seth. So, you know, was what it was, is what it is, right? But I was surprised that the New Day did lose that tag team match, right? So I thought, hey, it'd be nice if they put over the Profits. But again, you generally don't bet against your 10-time champions, the New Day. They tend to win more often than they lose. But hey, they lost here, and it was a pretty good match. So kudos on that. Now, Sami Zayn, unfortunately, couldn't get it done against Bobby Lashley because the entire Hurt Business was ringside. So that was kind of booked strangely. And Sami has no friends, so there was that. So that one, look, when it came to the end of the night and I said it would be a 4-3 deal, it was 4-3. But the opposite of what I had thought it would be, where it was 4-3 Raw to SmackDown, not 4-3 SmackDown to Raw. So it was still 4-3 though, right? If you count the pre-show. And sometimes they don't count the pre-show. So, anyhow. But, as I said, Sasha Banks needed a victory there over Asuka, and Asuka could currently eat that loss and it not be a problem, and it was a flash pin on that, so that went over pretty well, and that match was pretty fire, so that all went, you know, as I thought it might. But also, a thing I thought might happen, but not in the way I thought it would happen, was that the ladies 5-on-5, right? I was like, look, Lana's going to be the sole survivor. But I thought it was going to be because she went through a table and was just not in the match the whole time. Instead, they had her in the ring once. They're like, no, you can't tag in, Lana. You aren't allowed. Sit over on the steps. Don't even get on the apron, on the steps, Lana. And so what ended up happening was they took out all of Team SmackDown until Bianca was the last one in there, right? And Bianca and Nia had the old double count out. Because at some point during these matches, either with the men or the women, there's going to be a double count out thing. But it was the last two besides Lana. So by just hook or crook, Lana made it in there as the sole survivor. And to me, not having that table spot, there you go, Kurt. Not having that table spot with Nia and Lana for the 10th time, to me says, with the next pay-per-view being TLC, they're totally going to book Nia Jax versus Lana in a tables match. That seems like the most next logical step for those two. So, you know, there is that. But your main event, as it were, like match-wise, was Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And I told you, Roman Reigns is not losing. But it was not clean. There was some referee bumpage. There was some Jey Uso doing the super kick business. It was not a clean victory. But I thought perhaps Randy Orton would be here involved. And no, there was no Randy Orton on this show. There was no Retribution on this show. And there was no Fiend on this show. Surprising on those three fronts, right? And Roman Reigns won the match. Because, of course, Drew can eat that loss with shenanigans. Roman needs to keep being as strong as he's been until you build up a proper challenger for the big dog. So that one, you know, was what it was. But the actual ending of this show, the final farewell to the dead man, the thing I didn't put in my predictions because I was like, I don't know what they're going to do here. It's just weird, right? And sure, it's the final farewell until the next Saudi show, is my assumption on that. So I guess we'll see there. Kurt Angle, you're going down and spinning around. And that's going to be it, Mr. Angle. It's true. It's true. But the way they structured this final farewell was kind of weird and kind of hilarious. And so they brought out a whole bunch of legends, right? They brought out people who have history with Taker over the course of, you know, whatever. And almost everybody was in their regular clothes. They had the Godwins in their overalls. They had Jeff Hardy in his face paint. But generally, everyone looked normal until Kane. Kane came out in full ring gear. And I'm like, that had to be a rib. That had to be a rib. Stacy Keibler and Victoria. What do we have? Victoria wins that match and a elimination table 6-man. Rock, Goldberg, Book, Rick, Trips, and Randy. And the winner is The Rock. Putting Randy up through a table. 1 SP closer. 80 freaking 7. Man, what do we got in Albuquerque? Nobody backstage. They're all ignoring The Fiend. What a shame. What a waste. The Fiend versus The Rock Ultimate Submission match. What? You know what? I think that might have to wait until tomorrow. I just saved the game. I could just reboot and not do this nonsense because I don't know how long it's going to take and I don't have the time to do an Ultimate Submission, which could take up to 15 minutes for. I'm like, no. But let me discuss the rest of this whole thing with Taker and his final farewell real quick here. So they brought out all these legends and Kane in full gear, which was hilarious, right? Then it goes to a video package. They come back and all the legends are gone. Like, where? What? Huh? You're bringing in all these old guys in a company that has had multiple COVID outbreaks. And I'm like, what? All right, that seems unsafe, but okay. They're all flying in. Like, that seems dumb, but all right, whatever. And then Vince, after the package, in the ring to introduce Taker. And then Taker walks to the ring with his whole full entrance, right? And they're piping in the crowd chants, right? They turned off all of the Thunderdome people. So it's just Taker in the ring with these just very clearly piped in, thank you, Taker. Like all that, right? For a good long bit. He cuts the promo. They try to have the piped in crowd chanting along with the rest in peace. They kind of mistime it. So it goes, rest in peace. Peace. Like it doesn't, no, come on. And then a hologram pallbearer. That was cool, right? Respect on that. But just the whole thing seemed very hollow. And I understand circumstances being what they are, right? What choice did you have? This is the 30-year thing. You do it, crowd or not, right? But this needed a crowd. This needed to have people in attendance. This didn't feel right. But again, yeah, it's his final farewell until the next show in Saudi, whatever that happens to be. Because we all thought Ric Flair would retire, and he had that great send-off. And then guess what? TNA came calling, which is not as much of a check as the Saudi, but hey, you know, there's that. We all thought, hey, Shawn Michaels, 8.5 years, was going to stay retired. Then the Saudi money came calling. You know, it's wrestling. Anyhow, I'm Attack Slug. I'll see you tomorrow for an Ultimate Submission match with The Rock. More videos. Till next time, I'm out.